Good morning, grandkids. I'm going to talk for just a minute or two before I start reading you my new story, which I don't have hardly any written yet. Anyway, I wanted to let Christian know that I have been hanging on to his lovely card that he sent, and that I also have the nice book that he sent, blank book. He wants me to write the story in this book. And I want to let you know, Christian, that I make such a mess when I'm writing stories, changing my mind about things and stuff like that. So my pages are really scribbled up. So I write them just on notebook paper on a clipboard. And then after I have read the story online, I write it neatly and put it in its notebook. So after I read the story, I will be writing it then neatly in your book. So when I'm all through the story, I'm going to send you the book back so that you will have it to keep. You can remember me by that story. Okay? My new story, as some of you may remember, was going to be named The Forest Phantom. And I read the intro, and I may have read the first chapter, I don't know. But I rewrote since then, added a little more, and changed the title to Phantom of the Woods. So this morning, since I had some of these things to say and take up my time and yours, I decided that I would just read the intro today. And next Friday, I will start with the first chapter. Okay. At a high elevation, a creek meandered downward between two mountaintops. They weren't very high, and about halfway down, they evened out for a few miles before they slanted on down to the valley. Up near the top, a small creek was running down the side through the middle of all our farmland, and then went on down to the valley below. You know, guys, I did not realize, that I had written that almost the same thing twice. I shall change that before it goes in any book. Our town, named Black Rock, was nestled against the mountain, and our farms stretched out toward the creek. We each had a dirt, or some had a gravel, road running from our barn across the fields to the road along the creek. On the other side were more fields and a couple of more houses. This road sloped down to a larger village in the valley below. If you had a car, which hardly anyone did, you could drive down there in a few minutes. But if not, you could walk it in half an hour or so. There were also a few horses around. We farmed mostly wheat, corn, and beans, enough to feed our own stomachs, as Dad liked to say, and enough left over to sell in the town below. The same went for the cattle, pigs, and chickens that we raised. We even had a miller who could grind our corn and wheat, and we also had a man and his son who could make liquor. One day, one of their kegs broke, and the liquor was pouring onto the ground. Well, there was a dog nearby that came running over and started licking it up. The dog got drunk and started weaving around and falling down. I got to laughing so hard watching his antics, I was about to fall down myself. By the way, this might be a good time to tell you who I am. My name is Tucker Brownlee, a boy soon to be 16, and here I had been born. I have light brown hair, almost blonde. I have weird eyes. They're sort of grayish blue. I have no idea why. But it must be an interesting topic for my neighbors. I heard two men at our little market the other day talking about my eyes. I couldn't believe it. Why? I don't go to school, never have, because there isn't one here or in the village below. Whatever our parents know, they teach us kids. We kids also help out on the farms. There's only about 20 families who live here, and life is pretty easy. We have hard-working times, but leisurely fun times also. But what I want to tell you about is totally something different. You may not even want to believe me, but it's true. A year or so ago, something changed. Few people travel through here. There's nowhere to go up here on the mountain. But the few who do don't tarry long. They have started to feel, well, uneasy, and they move on quickly. The people living here don't blame them. We feel the same unease. It hadn't always been this way, this awareness of something not seen but felt, something just hanging in the air. Actually, to me, I think there is something up in the forest behind us, but something only sensed that I was the one it seemed to bother the most. So that's the introduction to the new story that I'm going to start writing, and you are all going to be along with me as I write. When I finish a chapter, I'll read it to you. So I hope that you will enjoy it. It'll be certainly different than Dorothy, and I think it's going to be fun to write. So I will talk to you all later. Hope you enjoyed today's little bit. Bye-bye, grandkids.